What is going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the best ways to be doing cardio and how you can improve your own cardio without having to rely on machines like the Stairmaster and a treadmill. So without further ado, let's get to it. Before we get started, I do want to mention that this is not going to be a video for anyone trying to become an endurance athlete. That's not the point here. The point is more or less to deviate from the normal treadmill, Stairmaster, elliptical type machines, and starting to practice something that is a little bit unorthodox in the current state of the fitness industry, which would be actually applying the things that you do for cardio to real life skills. So instead of this being a video about how you can improve your mile time or become a better endurance athlete, this is actually going to be more of a take to break the monotony of constantly walking on the treadmill, pushing it on the elliptical, and hitting the Stairmaster after every single lift. Obviously, I should mention that those are great tools to use if that's what you want to use, but if you don't enjoy using those, then stay tuned because I've got some tips that might help you improve your cardio without feeling like you're forcing yourself to do so. And before we get too far into this video, how much cardio should we even be doing a week? Well, according to the American College of Sports and Medicine, about 150 minutes per week should do it. Now, ideally, this would be about 5 times a week for about a half an hour each day at a moderate intensity. And with all of that said, then why does it seem like every single fitness influencer seems to be using these treadmills, the Stairmasters, the ellipticals, things like that? Well, it's actually pretty simple. One reason, and this is probably the main reason, is the fact that it actually fits their fitness goals, right? Maybe they're endurance athletes or bodybuilders, and they're trying to actually apply some of the things that they're learning on these machines to real life. For example, if you're an endurance athlete and you're, running trails somewhere out in the mountains, then maybe you use the Stairmaster to get used to that incline and kind of condition your legs. On the other hand, if you're a bodybuilding athlete, you're probably just trying to get leaner and not exert the most energy possible. So maybe you're not going to go outside and go for a jog. Maybe you're just going to stay on the treadmill, the elliptical, something that's a little bit easier on your joints, on your feet, things like that to prevent injury going into a bodybuilding show. However, in those cases, typically it makes sense to use those machines. Most endurance athletes in particular aren't going to rely on the machines themselves. They're going to be practicing outside and really applying the skills that they want to get better at. So the best way to do that is to actually practice the skill itself. If you want to get good at running, you have to practice running. If you want to get good at hiking, you have to start hiking. And as a result, whenever they're using these machines, it's typically to contribute to their overall goals as far as endurance goes. And even with the bodybuilder, they're going to perform their cardio and try to get better at cardio because it's going to allow them to get leaner. And the reality of bodybuilding in particular is that cardio kind of is the name of the game. But here's the thing that I always found interesting. I myself am not a bodybuilder or an endurance athlete. If I had to kind of define my role in this whole entire space as I'm trying to build a following, I'd probably say that I'm more of just like a fitness enthusiast. I'm not a personal trainer, and I'm definitely not, a competitive athlete by any means, but I do enjoy working out, and I do like shining a different perspective on how you can improve your fitness, right? So one of these things would obviously include cardio, and here's kind of what I've learned over the last 5-6 years. Staying on Stairmasters and treadmills are unsustainable. That's it. It took me 5 to 6 years to learn that. But over the last couple of months, I've found a new outlet. Instead of training on Stairmasters or on the treadmill, I've actually branched out and tried something a little bit different. Some of the things that I would say that I've implemented have been taking kickboxing, I skateboard, I hike, I snowboard, I even go for walks in the park sometimes with my girlfriend, although I wouldn't consider that to be moderate intensity. Most of the other things are pretty moderate whenever it comes to the intensity because I'm pushing myself and my cardiovascular endurance to some limit to some extent because at the end of the day, that's really what all of those things center towards. So that's really helped me kind of break away from using these machines on a day-to-day basis. Instead of relying on really bland sources for my endurance and improvement of my cardio, I think I would rather just diversify the activities. And for me, this has been a game changer because it's allowed me to stay way more consistent with my routine, but also being able to switch up my routine is important for me as well. And there's been a couple of takeaways since I've started doing this that I think are really important for me personally, and I think may be beneficial if you want to kind of switch up your routine and try not going towards the traditional cardio outlet, but maybe just trying to get a hobby that would instead force you to improve your cardio endurance. The first one being that I'm obviously getting out of my comfort zone, right? That's the first big point here. I'm more of an introvert in person, so for me, it's a little bit more important to find different ways to get out of my comfort zone. And one of those ways is signing up for a kickboxing class. I'm not good at kickboxing. I didn't grow up taking combat sports, but learning a new skill kind of takes me out of my comfort zone and forces me to be around other people and socialize, and doesn't keep me being such a hermit all the time. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a meticulous goal because not only am I working towards getting better at something, it's something that's specific to having good endurance and improving my cardio. Also, learning a new skill can definitely be humbling, so it definitely pushes you outside of your comfort zone and allows you to really want to get better at that thing, but also keeps you grounded. And as a result of having to learn new skills or forcing myself to learn new skills, I've really had to focus on improving things like my mobility. On top of strength training, you have these cardio movements, and I think a lot of people don't really focus on the actual mobility aspect of things because A, they're tired, and B, they just did cardio on top of strength training. But if I want to get better at the skill, then I have to learn to improve my mobility. Otherwise, I'm going to end up risking some level of injury, and I really don't want to do that because I want to be motivated to get better at whatever it is I'm learning. In this case, take kickboxing, as I mentioned before, and I really don't want to hurt something like my groin, so I have to start focusing on my mobility so that way I can show up to these classes and utilize the money that I'm spending towards learning this skill and end up developing an actual skill. And on top of all of that, I'm kind of just diversifying my workouts, even if it's not kickboxing, and it could be snowboarding or even hiking, and it kind of pushes the envelope and allows me to really work towards something instead of just trying to get in, do my cardio, and get out. I hate to say it, but I even think some of these things are enjoyable. Imagine working out and actually enjoying the workout instead of just trying to get it over with. And the second point of this whole entire rant about how switching on my cardio has really been a game changer is kind of my second point leading off of where I just left off, which is kind of having a goal to build towards. When someone's training for their first 5K or a marathon, maybe it makes some sense to run on a treadmill. When someone's interested in trail running, maybe it makes sense to run on a Stairmaster. But for me, in order to get better at kickboxing, I'm going to have to go to the kickboxing class and continue to improve and set goals around kickboxing. And because it's a hobby and it's something that I enjoy doing, it makes it a lot easier for me to set goals around. If you were going to train for a 5K or a marathon, you would probably set goals around your time. For me, I want to set goals around being better at kickboxing, and I'm a little bit more fluid and agile, so I have to actually practice hitting the bag and going to the kickboxing class more than once or twice a week. And of course, as a result, I'm making it easier to sustain this in the long term because I have certain goals and markers that I want to hit. And as I continue to get better, those goals only get bigger. Sure, maybe they're harder to accomplish, but at the same time, as long as you're setting goals around your cardio, it makes it a lot easier to sustain, which again, makes it easier to avoid going to the gym, getting in your cardio, and then leaving. There's no real goal set there. It's basically just the goal is to finish your cardio. Imagine your strength training, and instead of trying to get bigger or get stronger, you just went in there and decided, I just want to lift the weights, put them down, and go home. It's probably not going to sustain the best physique, and it's probably not going to last as long as it might if you had goals built around cutting or bulking or even maintaining but trying to get stronger. Point being, if you're choosing to do cardio and you're not setting goals around things like hobbies or some type of specific goal that you can really measure, then at the end of the day, it's probably not going to be as sustainable as if you have a hobby or a goal that you set that you're really pushing to accomplish. And so the main point of this video that I really wanted to articulate was the fact that kind of changing my mindset whenever it came to cardio has really been a game changer for me and has allowed me to stay at a leaner state despite the fact that I'm really not sticking to the machines that most bodybuilders would typically stick to, or even just regular fitness influencers. So if you're watching this and you made it this far in the video, then you should really consider avoiding falling down that path of just sticking to these regular cardio machines and things like that, and start getting hobbies that you can build goals around. Even if it's something like jujitsu, or you want to really break outside of the normal, kickboxing or skateboarding or snowboarding or hiking or whatever it is that I'm doing, just set goals around what you enjoy and what you think you could really get into. If you're setting goals around a skill to get better at that skill, then chances are the cardio is going to be a little bit more sustainable in the long term. At the end of the day, you should really be building skills to get you outside of your comfort zone and improve yourself so that way you can take that next step forward in life and kind of practice the discipline of, being uncomfortable. And obviously I'm not trying to discredit any kind of machine. If you want to use machines, you absolutely should. I just think it's a little bit more realistic to apply those machines to your real life. So if the two things aren't really connecting, then maybe it's not as feasible as you think it is. Cardio is such an important aspect of health that's not really acknowledged on the mainstream fitness media, whatever bullshit, but at the end of the day, it is a really important aspect to your health. So setting goals around things that you enjoy doing to improve your cardio is probably going to help, your cardiovascular health. Not to mention the fact that if you enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be more motivating and it'll allow you to be a little bit more disciplined. And if you're currently just doing cardio using machines to look better, then chances are it's probably not going to be sustainable for long periods of time, although it might allow you to see the results that you're looking for in little increments, maybe 3 or 4 weeks at a time, but not necessarily year-round. Maybe instead of just creating aesthetic goals, you create goals, again, around things that you actually enjoy. Once your goals are set, practice having the discipline to see those goals through. It'll be worth it at the end of the day, and it'll make you feel a lot better once you can actually say that you accomplished those goals. You got this. Just take one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and you'll be all right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you. Hopefully this video provided some type of perspective or allowed you to kind of break free from the mindset of doing regular bland cardio, and you're motivated to go out and set goals around things that you actually enjoy doing. If you did enjoy today's content, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And of course, I can't help but take a couple of seconds to say thank you to everybody who's been subscribing and watching this content. Of course, I appreciate you. Honestly, it really does mean a lot to me to see the growth in this channel, and we're working towards 500 subscribers right now. I'm sure we'll get there soon enough, so thank you. With that said, I will see you all in the next video.